Welcome to RV Talk Radio. Here we talk about RV living, RV lifestyles, and RV travel. We also celebrate the RV lifestyle that gives us the chance to do Welcome to RV Talk Radio. Here we talk about RV living, RV lifestyles, and RV travel. We also celebrate the RV lifestyle that gives us the chance to do outdoor activities that we couldn't do in a normal lifestyle. So thanks for joining us. Grab yourself a cup of coffee, a cup of tea, and let's talk about RVs. Well, hello everyone. This is Rob Scribner from RV Talk Radio. This is episode 106. Yep, 106. And doing great. Appreciate all the great feedback from the last show we did on the homeless situation and buyouts in the RV parks. And I also had the opportunity to work with RV Refrigeration Group, and they put together a little commercial for us, and I'm going to play it right now.
Ford's RV Refrigeration Training Center, a licensed school, has many objectives for only one product, the RV refrigerator. We educate others so they can provide a repair service in their area, repair their own refrigerator, or when they hear throw it away, buy a new one, they'll know the right questions to ask in order to know whether or not their technician has been properly educated. Since 1984, we have saved RV owners money, provided them the best warranty, and reduced our carbon footprint. We accomplish these objectives daily through our service and training programs. Military veterans can even use their GI Bill for our training program, which includes our customized tools and manuals. Visit RVrefrigeration.com to find free DIY repair videos and information on our service and training programs. As a thanks to Rob Scribner, we're offering his listeners a free 11-point RV refrigerator inspection and one free night of camping at our location in Benton, Kentucky. Go to RVrefrigeration.com to call and make an appointment. That's RVrefrigeration.com. Thanks for listening. Stay cool and GBYAY.
So I have to giggle a little bit. I was talking to Anna is her name, and I've actually dealt with the Ford Refrigeration Group before, and super, super nice people doing a really wonderful service. And it's a great opportunity, by the way, for the folks that are maybe retired or looking for work where you can travel and earn income at the same time. And I'm telling you, RV refrigeration, to specialize in that, is definitely a way to go. And then they have a great program to get trained and certified. So they also have a great program for vets, my understanding is. So, yeah, check them out. It's Ford Refrigeration, and I'll probably play the commercial at the end of the show too, just because they're super, super neat people. And I have to laugh because I'm going to talk about a myth about refrigerators. And I told her about this story, and she like, no, you didn't. And I said, I did. And so anyway, so back about 2 years ago, if you go back to our old videos on when we were traveling full time, we had a heck of a time with our refrigerator, and it would just stop running, and then we'd fiddle around with it a little more, and it come back on, and it was so undependable. I couldn't, and of course I started going to YouTube and started watching videos like crazy. And thank God, the Ford Refrigeration Group had great videos out there. But I came across a couple of videos that said that with newer refrigerations, that there's kind of a belief out there that you could burp them. Yep. So basically what it is, they have a circulation of ammonia in them, and they claim that possibly you could get like an air bubble or kind of a vacuum lock type thing going on. And, I tried everything, checking the wiring, checking the cooling, checking everything, and I just couldn't figure it out. And, I went out and bought one of those hand thermometers, point and shoot gun type thing, so I can monitor this darn thing. And basically, the assumption is shut it off, let it sit for like a half a day or a day, and then turn it back on, and basically burp it. So basically, I did that, and I hate to say this, and I'm so sorry for all those people out there, but it worked. I haven't had trouble with the RV refrigerator since. And I don't know, if what actually fixed it. Could have been a loose wire from me fooling around. It might have been a timing thing. I was checking everything. A little thermometer wire that came off of there. I checked my fans, opened it up, and I was so frustrated. Anyway, but she's been running good, and mine was a Norco double-door refrigerator in my Montana, 2013 Montana. Don't remember the model number. I can't check it right now. But anyway, but she laughed. She goes, "You didn't burp it, did you?" And I go, "Yep, I did, and it worked." She's laughing. She goes, "You probably did something else to it," and she's probably right, because it does seem awfully weird to do that process. But anyway, I have to laugh that it was something that really isn't true, because I saw the videos too and say, guys, that's a myth. But hey, it worked for me. But I'm sure that there was a reason of something. I was connected loose or whatever. I don't know what it was, because I really fiddled with that refrigerator a lot. I was so frustrated. I almost replaced it, but got it running. For 2.5 years since then, it's been running fine. So knock on wood. Well, once again, I want to thank everybody for all the great feedback from last week's show. We talked about RV parks getting bought out and then raising prices, and then there's been parks, and when I say RV parks, it could be model like places where they have the park models and stuff like that. And so a lot of them have been bought up. I think I just talked to someone who said the Can-Am folks down here in Arizona own like 73 RV parks down here. And I got to tell you, I got really good feedback. One of the ones that kind of bothered me, but understandable. I mean, I can see everybody's side. Doesn't make me angry, but one of the comments that came back is, yeah, that's a good thing, and that does push out those kind of people to get rid of them. Like, in a way that they meant that we don't want those kind of people in our RV park when I go to visit them. So I'm glad they're raising the rate and pushing them out. And it's like, what a mixed emotion kind of feeling. I understand that. I mean, I know when I go to RV park, I don't want some kind of broke down old RV that's been there for years and years, and 27 kids living in it, and 5 dogs and a bunch of stray cats, and garbage all over. That would kind of bother me too. But it's also the responsibility of the RV park saying, hey, here, this is our standard if you're going to stay here. So, people push things to the to the very edge unless you give them rules and regulations. So I don't know. I can't say it's the RV park's fault either. I mean, people can run have a very slummy looking RV or take the best that they got and try to make it look as nice as possible and try to be a good neighbor. But anyway, that was probably the one comment that probably riled me up a little bit more about, everybody wants to live a certain standard in their life and they don't want to be forced into living next to someone who's on fixed income and has a rundown RV or something. I understand that. And I don't know the answers to all this stuff, but it's really good to talk about. Remember, we're talking about RV lifestyles here. But the other thing I got to tell you about is the little ride I went on. It took a little road trip, do a little homework on one of these Can-Am RV parks here in Arizona. And you will not believe what I saw. Well, I decided to go for a little drive, and I decided to go visit RV parks here in Arizona. And I just kind of I kind of drove around like a stalker. I just threw Cinder in the back, grabbed my cameras, but I decided not to record this time. I just thought I'd drive around. So I go into these RV parks and drive like 5 miles per hour, looking at all the rigs, all the different things there. And I only made it to like 3 RV parks because I drank too much Coke and I had to find a restroom. Anyway, so I went through one and it was kind of interesting. Now, here was one of the concepts that I thought was a great idea. Is I actually pulled over as like 5 or 6 people in a group, and I walked right up there like I just owned the place and says, "Hey, I'm from RV Talk Radio. Can I talk to you guys?" And they were very friendly. And anyway, like stranger danger. So anyway, of course, with Cinder's little poking her head out the side of the window, it kind of makes everything like, "Oh, that's a cute dog." Anyway, it calms everybody down. Plus, my car's plastered with identifiers that I'm from RV Talk Radio and Outdoor Travel Channel. So that helps. So anyway, I talked to these people, and one guy says that I was asking about the park models, and I said, has rent gone up? And that's why I found out about the Can-Ams owning so many parks down here. And he agreed, yes, prices have definitely gone up. And they gave me some price quotes of what they were paying. And they're up there $600-700, I think it was, a month for an RV. And I think the same for a park model. Anyway, the one guy had a great idea. He goes, yeah, he's got a park model in this park. It was a smaller park. And he had an RV that he was in front of. And he says, yeah, I'm living in my RV and I'm renting my park model at the other side of the RV park for 4 months. And I'm like, okay. And they're like, why? And he goes, well, there's a lot of RVers or snowbirds that get up in age. And he says, yeah, the people that have it come down as snowbirds, but they're getting up in age where they didn't want to drive a big rig anymore, and they just decided that they still love to come down to Arizona for the winter, so now they just come down and rent park models. And it's like, well, that's not a bad idea. So I don't know if the guy moves back into his park model after they leave, or if he just stays in his RV and stores it. But it's not a bad idea, guys. Maybe snag yourself a park model and use it once in a while when you're down here in Arizona, but during the winter season, rent it out. And hopefully get, a kind little older couple or whatever, and let them rent it out for 4 or 5 months while it's, and when they're all done, they can pack it all up and go back home and not have to drive a big old rig anymore. And you got a chance. And by the way, he said he was charging $1,500 a month for his park model, which if he owns it or even bought his park model, I'm sure he's making a profit, and that's a good deal. And that's something to consider is having a park model and rent it out and then use it when you want to. During the main, as long as it's not during the best season, you want, obviously the snowbirds to use it. So I thought it was kind of interesting, but that's not my whole story. No, there's much more to this story. So I decided to drive around. I went through another park, and by the way, most of the parks, I would say 80 to 85% of RV parks are park models, not RVs, park models. But I decided I have got to go down to the Can-Am one down here, and this baby was big. I mean, we're talking over 2,000 spaces. Oh my Lord! I drove up. And good old Cinders got her nose out the back window. The guy was super nice. And I said, I'm from RV Talk Radio. I'm just driving around and looking around. Do you mind? He says, oh, no problem. I didn't have any cameras or anything. So I said, I'm just curious. I always wanted to see one of the Can-Am parks. And he's like, gives me a map and everything. Oh, my God. This map was humongous. It was, I could not believe how many spaces were in this place. So I go driving on down inside there and stuff, and I just randomly picked little roads to go down. And oh my God, I mean, there wasn't anything open. I mean, everything was filled. And I would once again would say,
we are live guys.
85, 90% of what I saw was park models. And
just
let me tell you, there's
hello,
no place
let you
to
know
park.
that I am here if you want to yak, and we'll
you don't need a big rig if you're using a park model.
Put your questions in
there's little places where you park your little cars and stuff, but I don't know where
comment area, and we'll stop the show and we'll talk.
I'm sure they got a place to park your cars away from the park models, but there's no room to park in the sides. They don't want you to park. And believe me, I have never seen so much chaos in my life. Talk about packed in there. There's like, oh my gosh. I mean, everybody looked happy and it looked like a nice place and stuff, but what a zoo. But I don't want to knock it because, I mean, obviously there's 2,000 people there and they're perfectly happy. So, once again, that kind of place is about the community. And so if I got home and like I said, I did the drive-through there, total chaos. Don't be in a hurry, man, because there's like people crossing the street and things in the road. And most people have got little golf carts. And, I mean, these park models were cute and all shapes and sizes. And their RVs are kind of squeezed in between some of the other ones and stuff. And it's just total mayhem, but I think fun community living mayhem. So yeah, it was amazing. But one thing I wanted to differently mention is, my gosh, for a community, it's like its own little city. We're talking the main area, like the community area, had, oh my gosh, everything you could think of, from quilting rooms to welding and woodworking areas. I didn't go in, I just read off everything. Of course, a hall, a place for dancing, laundry, a whole works. And then down one other end, there was a golf kind of setup down there, and all kinds of gaming things. I mean, other than the fact you need to buy food, you have no reason to have to leave that place. I'm sure there's probably food there too. Of course, there's pools and the whole works, and lots of hot tubs and things like that, and massage centers. Beauty salons, oh my gosh, it just goes on and on what they had there. So what I didn't get a chance, because I couldn't stop, I couldn't pull over and talk to anybody, was, what's it costing for those people? And I'm actually going to go back, and I'm actually going to film some stuff next time and get enlightened of what this Can-Am. So this is an example of a big company buying out an RV park and then commercializing it to the max, and even with the prices going up and stuff, a lot of people obviously think it's worth it. So that's great. Anyway, but wow, and when you see the video come out when I go back, you'll just be shocked of just wall to wall park models and little RVs kind of squeezed in there too. And then they got, like 2/3 of the park is allowed to have pets, another section no pets, and they claim to be pet friendly and stuff. But anyway, it was enlightening. I don't think I'd be happy there. Just too much. I mean, I can't believe it could be a quiet place to live. But I mean, talk about a nice social setup where you come down for 4 or 5 months and enjoy yourself and be in a community and see probably friends you see every year. I could see where it could really be a neat thing. And but I'm sure that the price is a little higher than your average RV park because of all the amenities there. And I'm sure they got some pretty strict rules and stuff like that. And that's good. You're going to need it for that kind of people, that many people in RVs and stuff. So, but yeah, oh my gosh. Good example of what I was talking about. And yeah, I mean, you're not seeing anything run down in there too. I mean, I didn't see any really shoddy RVs in there or even park models. There's some, definitely older park models, but they looked like they were well kept. So, but yeah, I'll, like I said, try to get some video of it and put it on Outdoor Travel Channel. So I kind of like to go back to the first subject I was talking about was these, we've talked about people that want to travel and young people that are getting out there and they're working from their RVs and stuff. And, and I've made it a goal or since I put out pros and cons kind of recordings before this, it's only fair that I also make sure that I'm looking at all sides of things, which I try to do. Now, one thing that gets kind of frustrating is I know people will listen to our show, hear something that riles them up, and then they stop listening and send me a nasty note. And then if they would have listened 5 more minutes, they would have seen I went from pro to con or con to pro on that same subject. And it's like, so I highly recommend if you're going to be an opinionated person about some of these subjects and one-sided, I ask in all fairness, listen to the whole podcast because you realize that we're just bringing the subjects up and it's not necessarily what we do. And we try to rattle you a little bit, but towards the end, you also see that we're going, we're just trying to rattle you. So like, chill out. But anyway, one of the things that, especially for young people, if there's anybody young, listen to this like 20, 30, 40. And I'm telling you, 2 of the biggest things I've seen out there that would be a great education to get is to go, one, the Ford refrigeration company, which it had a commercial at the end of this podcast, and I'm going to put it at the end too. They have a great certification to learn how to fix refrigeration units on RVs. And she was telling me that their people that are in their directories and stuff are swamped. I mean, to a point that they actually said, get me off the directory, I'm too busy. And what a nice problem that is. And it could get a little irritating. Be careful what you ask for, you might just get it. The other one I hear about is learning about becoming an RV inspector or inspections for people that are buying RVs and want to have them inspected before they buy them. And you charge them like $350 and do the whole process and stuff. But both require schooling or classes or a certification. You need to, and I'm not sure how long the one is for the Ford refrigeration. And please call them. And once again, their information will be at the beginning of the show and at the end. But I'll try to put it in the description too if I remember. Anyway, remember, senioritis. Their information will be at the beginning of the show and at the end. Get educated, learn a skill, you youngins, and you'll never regret it. I mean, you'll carry with that with you all your life, whether you want to make a business out of it or just helping your friends or keeping up your own RV. Yes, you'll be spending $4,000 or $5,000, $6,000 for the education. Yeah, that's what we do. People pay for their education. It's just how it is in America. But I would recommend if you had the gumption, and I think these guys are in Kentucky, pack your bags, make an appointment, put some money together, find a way to do it, and get certified. And they actually will recommend, my understanding, if you're, say, in Oregon, they'll advertise you or say, yeah, we got an Oregon technician right up there, call Wilbur, and the work should come rolling on in. And I'm not, that's all I know about it. Really, you need to call Ford Refrigeration and talk to them and find out what it's all about and find out their successes and maybe what some of their others, what didn't work. But be open-minded, but realize that education, whether you're going to go learn how to be a welder or if you're going to be an apprentice or anything, you're going to pay for it. But it's going to be investing in yourself, and that's really important. And if you want this freedom early and want to hit the road and travel and work, what a great way to do it, because, we've talked about, there's more RVs out there. People want their stuff fixed. They don't want to go to shops. If you could come to them right at their place and fix their refrigerators, man, what a great service to have. And once again, I have some people I know that have a mobile RV set up a business of their own, and they're always busy. And it's a great business to get into, and I highly recommend it. And what I've seen of it, I've actually seen it of this, like the one folks I know that have their own business. They don't even have to leave the RV park that they're at, because there's plenty of work just there. And but also to specialize in refrigerator units. Oh my goodness, you could make a pretty penny and go anywhere with that, anywhere in the country, including probably Canada too. I don't see why not, or even Mexico for the RV parks down there. If you can fix RVs and fix RV refrigeration, you're in good shape, I'm telling you. Now, I got to put in a little bit of our own commercialism in my shows a little bit here, so I need to talk about and want to talk about two of our radio stations. And I'll try not to talk too long about this. I apologize if you get it, that's great. But it's new to a lot of folks, to this kind of stuff. Times are changing. They don't even want to sell CDs at the stores anymore. It's changing again. We went from 8-tracks to cassettes to CDs, and now they just want to go with files. So yeah. Anyway, RV Talk Radio is a podcast, and we also have Arizona Talk Radio, and we have old radio show, goodoldradio.com. Those are all podcasts, and we did that for a purpose. But we also have 2 full-time radio shows, and RV Talk Radio is featured on one of them, and also Arizona Talk Radio. But there's so much more. And why did we even do this in the first place? And one I know when you're traveling down the road, now I know a lot of people are doing all kinds of things with CDs and all that stuff, and iTunes and all, and iPods and all that stuff. But basically, there's still folks out there just turn on the radio when they come into a city and try to find a good station, and it's great until you get through that city and it fades away, and then it's like crap, good music. Anyway, but with cell phones, if you can be on the internet, or with podcasts, you can download them, you have something to listen to while you're traveling. And then also, first thing we created was Good Music Radio, which is goodmusicradio.com. It's a internet radio station, 24/7, and it's not just something I do. I have DJs from all over the world on it, from England to here to Australia. I have DJs, and they have their shows and stuff. But it's and then we have some specialized shows like doo-wop kind of shows. We have Big Bob's Memory Lane and stuff. And anyways, it's a really good radio station, and because you guys kind of know how old I am, I tend to have our music is programmed for just good classic rock, good classic easy listening, good classic country, even good classic or classic pop music. It's good stuff. It's not crap, and it's not a bunch of noise, and not a whole bunch of commercials either. There's commercials, got to have that. That's what pays for this stuff. Anyway, but you can listen to good music radio right on your cell phone and kick back and relax and know that you're going to hear good music and not a bunch of crap. And that was the goal behind Good Music Radio when we created it. You can listen to it on your Alexa, you can listen, or your Echo they call them, or your cell phone or your smart TV. You can listen to it in your car by just plugging your cell phone right into your radio, and it's neat because you know the music is going to be good. Our library is so big I don't know anybody have a music collection like we have. Gigantic music collection. And at night we tone it down a smidgen so it's nice to listen to at nighttime, and you can even go to bed with it on and it chill you out. It's nothing but really good music. No rap, no crazy stuff. But there is, during the days, there's some, classic rock, the good stuff. But yeah, so check it out. Good Music Radio, which is part of our the big picture here is called Cutting Edge Radio Network. And RV Talk Radio, this here is just a piece of that. Now we have the other talk show. If you like stimulated conversation, good, stuff that really rile you up, stuff that might even get you angry. Like when you listen to this show, sorry, and some really good stuff. We got a show called The Real Side. We got some stuff that goes, all kinds of really good talk shows and stuff, and some old time radio shows and all kind. Then there's a barbecue show. There's if you're into gold prospecting, we have a gold prospecting show on Saturdays. We have, and then we have, obviously this show and Arizona Talk Radio, along with all kinds of stuff. And that's called Good Talk Radio. So if you like talk radio, there you go. My gosh. We had to have two radio stations that covered both. One with the talk and stimulus kind of shows, and then the music shows where you just want good music to go for a walk on, or ride your bike, or listen while you're cooking, or just chill out. Good music where you can just there's no guys screaming in the background and all that stuff. It's just good stuff. So, and they're not hard to remember. It's Good Music Radio or Good Talk Radio, either one of those. And if you go to the websites and look at the schedule, you can see all the different shows we have. And if you really like good old-fashioned storytelling, we have goodoldradio.com, which is actually a podcast, and we designed it that way so you could download the shows or listen to Gunsmoke, or you can listen to Sherlock Holmes, or Have Gun Will Travel, Lone Ranger, all kinds of stuff. It's there for you, and we're always putting new shows up there all the time. We have a library that's just knock your socks off. So there, and on the music show and talk show, we also have the Ranger Rob Morning Show, which is my show, and it's just, casual kind of fun stuff with very little talk and a lot of great music and a couple good stories, and that's all it has to do with it. But it was designed with RVers in mind when we did it at first. Now it's a much bigger thing. It's a worldwide thing. But check them out, please. It's worth it, and it's there's all these really simple things you can put on your phone to listen to podcasts and to listen to internet radio. The day of the old radio thing is dying out, and they're losing money. It's like newspapers, and times are changing. So check us out. Once again, it's Good Music Radio for music and Good Talk Radio for good dialogue. You'll love it, and in between the shows and stuff, we'll play music and stuff. Once again, it's good, tasteful music between the shows. But if you see something you really want to listen to, go check the schedule or go to their Facebook pages. Good Music Radio has its own Facebook. Good Talk Radio has its own Facebook. Good Old Radio has its own Facebook. And of course, RV Talk Radio has its own Facebook, and so does Arizona Talk Radio. Blah blah, just tons of stuff, along with Outdoor Travel Channel. So now I got you totally confused. Yeah, we have those links on the bottom of this description of the show. So check it out. It's something different. I know it's not your normal stuff. Once you get connected, once you're set up, I promise you, you'll love the music on Good Music Radio. And if you like good stimulating shows, talk shows and intellectual stuff, then check out Good Talk Radio. Oh my gosh, good stuff. So time to move on. I got my 2 cents in, maybe 3 cents. Got to do it once in a while. So I'll tell you a little secret. So been doing a little homework. And so I'm always looking at stuff. Always, and when I tell you about this here right in this module, doesn't mean we're going to do it. I'm just saying I'm looking at it, and the reason being is, all these things we've been talking about. Even though I brought up all these interesting subjects of in the past few episodes and got you all riled up, it riles me up too. Which says, well, what the hell are me and Sherry going to do in the future? And so especially when you start thinking about fixed income, we all going to be facing that. Hopefully, some of us aren't even that fortunate. And it's like, all right, so I'll have this number at age 62, 65, and that's it. It's not going to change anymore unless I do odd jobs. And Lord knows what my health will be like, or Sherry's. So what are we going to do? What might be good right off the bat might fade away based on inflation and things like that. It could be another recession. Housing could go nuts. Your health could go sour. Who knows? So one of the other things I've been kind of researching is outside of the country. Not because I'm mad at this country. Yes, the media drives me nuts. If you really look at all the problems we're having, whether it's shooting or whether it's presidential or whether it's decision making, it's because our media is just a mess. They're not like they used to be. We'll just say that. And to get the real story on anything, you have to really get connected to shows like Good Talk Radio, where we have some people that do the research and get the facts, and so you can actually have know what's really going on. Because, the media, they're just interested in conspiracy, money, greed, all that stuff. It's the same old stuff. So anyway, so I decided to kind of research living outside the United States. Not because I'm mad at the United States, but it's because of income. And what's some choices in the future. We're going to got lots of time. So we're looking at stuff in Mexico, which caused me to come across other folks that are either over there already or some people have visited and did a lot of really good reports. And I got to tell you, I came across a channel that I really enjoy. And they're not in Mexico right now. They were there for about 4 months. And the channel is called The Way Away. So in the word way, W-A-Y, and away, A-W-A-Y. And they're a young couple. And if you look at the Mexico part, that was actually their first year. And it was very interesting. I like them because they're very charming. The gal, they're very young. And the girl is just, oh my God, so darn happy all the time. You just want to slap her in a good way. Anyway, so thewayaway.com, which their channel's called the Way Away, and wow, what a great show! And they do a video every freaking day, That's not easy at all. And back when they're in Mexico, they're actually a brand new channel, so they're really struggling. Now they're not. They still got their stumbling blocks because trying to be young and not having a job and trying to do things on the internet and stuff, it's just hard to make a living. And, they're doing all the same old thing. They're getting YouTube money, and they sell T-shirts, and they do the Amazon thing, same old stuff. And that's the problem. Everybody's doing it, and it's getting harder and harder. Unless you devote your life to whatever niche you're doing 110% and make the sacrifices, you'll never have a high-impact channel. Unless you're that's one of the reasons why Nomadic Fanatic's doing so good, is he's in it 110% commitment of living on the road, and so people see that, and that's the kind of stuff that really goes for it, And same with other channels that don't do as good as that, but are doing pretty good, like Less Junk, More Journey. Do It Justice. There's a whole bunch of them out there. Anyway, but so we're looking at all that and looking at, if you go on Social Security and you have a pension and doesn't mean you have to get rid of anything in the United States. Like, we have a house here, we could rent it out and actually go down and live down there, very cost effective, including medical. And you could still keep your Medicaid and use it up here if you have something serious. Down there, you can actually use their stuff by cash, and they have insurance policies down there which are much more affordable than the States, and their hospitals are all up to date. So once again, it's easy to judge, just like, we're talking about some of the stuff in the past few shows, that everybody has a stereotype in their head, including myself, and that's why it's always good to have a discussion about this stuff. So before you go, oh my God, they got terrible. So that's because you heard that in the media. And what you need to do is actually watch shows and meet people that are actually doing that, and you'll find out the story you're hearing is not exactly what really is going on. Yeah, and there is some hot spots definitely in Latin America, like even Cancun is getting kind of questionable. But your places like Mazatlan and Mexico City and stuff like that, still some great places to go. And there's communities down there with Americans. Tons of Americans are down there, and Canadians and Europeans. They found a way to make the numbers work good and live a great life in their older age. And that's one choice, one idea to look at. And I'm sure I'll hear the feedback, oh, you don't want to go down there and all that stuff. But don't make comments without doing a little homework or at least, pro and con kind of comments are the kind of stuff we're looking for. It's like, oh, I wouldn't want to do that because I really love it here. Well, that was great stuff. But if you say no because you just don't like the people, or you don't think anything's better than the United States, that's okay. But just be professional with your comments, and open your mind. That's what Sherry and I are trying to do, and have these discussions and talk about these sensitive things, just like we were just talking about the media. And you hear me talk about Trump or Obama or Democrat or Republican, and we sway towards our certain things, but it doesn't mean I can't listen and hear the other side. It's okay. It's all right to have an opposing opinion, and we can still be in the same room, and to hate something so bad, like a politician or a certain party, is really clouding my mind and your mind, all of us, if you're using hate, pure hate. I truly think that everybody, even if you don't like them or aren't comfortable to be around them, everybody has something good to contribute. And if you can look into their soul and their heart and try to find out, and look at the good side. It's kind of like when we're saying in some of the things where you're doing things like in RVer, you meet a community. Well, some of the people you meet in the community you love and you do and have a good time with, But you know that if you had to be neighbors with them for a long time or got to know them for a long period of time, you'd get on each other's nerves. So as long as you know that, it's all cool. Anyway, so, whether you're talking about gun control or use or mental illness and all that stuff, all sides have got to be able to talk, and it's okay to be passionate, but not closed-minded and hateful. That kind of stuff is hurting us all. And I don't know how I got off on this tangent. I'm sorry. I love you, man. Anyway, same thing with this RV Talk Radio. We try to bring up all the different sides, and we'll talk about even stuff we don't necessarily believe in, but at least trying to represent the other side of this stuff. And our biggest thing out there is there's so much material about the same old thing out there, and there's a lot of material out there that are just happy, but as soon as they shut off the camera, they got issues. And you don't see that. You kind of think it's not happening. And it is. Just like this Way Away folks, if you look into their future and look into their other videos, they're dirt broke right now. Right this minute. Even though they're giant channel and the whole works, they, obviously we talk about, are you saving money? Do you have a 401k? There's benefits of owning your house. There's a benefit of having a full-time job and having skills and all that stuff. And, that could be some of the circumstances. Maybe not. Anyway, but you should be able to talk about it. And how can you make it better? And they're like describing like things that they made mistakes on, that maybe things, could have worked out better where their numbers were better. So it's all good. All good. Yeah. So anyway, Mexico, Cucaracha might be a way to go. Might be something to look at for retirement for those years coming up when you need to kind of slow her down a little bit. You can't have as many toys. Maybe you don't have an RV or boat like I do anymore. Got to get rid of them toys because they're getting this a little too hard to maintain and keep up with, and then all that stuff. Well, you just want to have a place where you can just relax and be with people, and your responsibilities are light, and you don't have to worry about money. That would be a nice thing in your golden years, wouldn't it? Well, we covered a lot of stuff in this show and worked our way from refrigerators to Mexico. So, gosh, all kinds of stuff. But, here's a question for you and me and all of us. And I'd love to hear in the comments. And I'm urging you guys to give us the feedback in the comments. And once again, be professional. But what are you going to do as you get older in your RV, and let's say that's what you're doing full-time? So I'd love to hear the combination of those that have a base in full-time, and then those are just full-time and live in their RV full-time without a base. And it's like, what have you thought about? Maybe you don't want to think about it, but you got to think about it. What would happen if you lost your spouse right now and you're a full-timer? How would that change your scenario? Or have you talked about it? And it's like, well, yeah, one of us is going to go and I'm still going to an RV. Or, what about health? What if someone has a heart attack or has a stroke or something like that? Have you thought about what you're going to do afterwards? Maybe you can't drive that RV anymore, or maybe your spouse, are you both able to handle the equipment? Do you have plans? Is your health insurance and programs like that, do you think they will work and support you? Maybe you're using the Obamacare, maybe you're not. I like to hear your plans. I like to hear, or at least, have a discussion of it's good to live for the now, but I'm a visionary, so I tend to be someone that's always looking ahead. And that's, there's people who are just, some people are just intellectual or almost anal attentive type thing, and there's others that are visionaries and are always looking out there for, and it goes on and on. So really getting to the point is just like I met that one guy that has a park model, and he's got an RV and he rents the park model, and it's like every once in a while I come across a new idea and stuff, and sharing this kind of stuff with each other can help other people be able to go on the road. Others that are on the road that maybe should improve their situation before something happens. Like where we were at before we bought our house, there was a lady there whose husband had a massive heart attack and died. And she was stuck in Arizona in a motorhome and apparently couldn't drive it. And she had health issues. It was a sad story. And it's like, I guess it'd be nice if we all helped each other not to have a sad story. And so that's where I bring this up, is what would you do if you had, let's even think about something like, let's say you're towing your rig and you get in a windstorm and you lose your fifth wheel, topples over and it's destroyed. Or maybe you had a fire, like hopefully nobody's hurt. And what would you do after that point? Or have you thought about that? And what did you put in place? Do you have warranties, special insurance? What are some of your plans? Or maybe you just don't want to think about it. And say, I'll just deal with it when it happens. And there's other people that aren't like that. They need to know. They want things planned out. And yeah, I know in RV travelers is like, that's not necessarily the lifestyle. RV traveling is like living for the now and being happy for the now. But when you get older, it's, there's just a few things you just definitely got to know. And how well is your Medicaid handle traveling and supplemental air insurance for that? And it's like, those are all really good conversations. And it's nothing wrong. Well, I'm still going to say it's really nothing wrong if you don't have those plans. But maybe you'll feel differently if something happened and you didn't think about them. So I'm just saying that. So food for thought, but yeah, what are you going to do if something was to happen? And none of us want to face that. But those who faced it or have a plan, it can go a little smoother. And I think the biggest thing at our ages is health and aging and death in the family. But no bones about it, for you youngins, things can happen. Like the Warrior group that had a fifth wheel and were traveling, and they got in an accident on a moped, and he died. And I don't know, I haven't heard anything after that. That had to be a shocker. And what was the plans after that? What happened after that? I don't know. It's just amazing stuff to talk about. I know we don't want to talk about that kind of stuff, but it's a lifestyle thing, and it affects young people, middle-aged people, and older folks. What you gonna do? So I bet you guys are wondering, what's Rob gonna do for a future show? And one of the answers will be buses. What is the deal with all these people converting buses? Oh my gosh, it seems like there's quite a few of them where people have already got converted buses, and what's the benefits? Why are they doing that? What's the benefits of living in a bus and converting them as opposed to an RV? Must be something. I'm not sure what it is yet, but we'll figure it out. That's what we're here for. It's a lifestyle thing. So yeah, we got that coming up. I'd like to talk more about what people are doing in the future and how they're preparing for things, or not so much disasters, but change. What are you going to do with change? Are you just traveling until you have a child? Or maybe you're traveling till a child gets to a certain age and you have plans. Those kind of things I want to talk about on the lifestyles. And of course, what's everybody doing lately for careers and things like that. America's changing kind of again, and it's like, all right, there's a lot of jobs out there, but they're and a lot of them are skilled jobs. Like, we need to bring that back. But there's also that technical programming, NC program kind of things where I think those are more like 2-year schools, but they're still specialized. And then there's like these terrible things of apprenticeship programs for these millennials that they get educated or have a background and get stuck in these trying to get experience, and they have issues where they're caught between a rock and a hard place. They got the education, but they don't have the experience, and so they do apprentice programs, and they don't get paid for it, or paid minimal, or things like that. It's like always looking at what are people doing out there to be on the road and make a decent living, and have amenities like insurance and things that everyday people are entitled to, or not necessarily entitled to, but need to afford. And so those are the kind of shows coming up in the future. Sherry and I have got things that we're contemplating and stuff we'll be sharing more on. And of course, we've got our RV. We've got to go up here pretty soon and see how well winterizing in a very cold climate, how well we did. I'm sure we'll have a lot of feedback of things that we're either successful on or could have done better. And I want to keep an eye out on these RV parks and this growth going on. Are we going to get saturated with too many RVs and not enough RV parks? And this servicing, is that going to become a problem, or more so a problem than it already is? Lots of things to talk about on RV Talk Radio. And of course, there's just, the good old just traveling and the happiness of that, and some of the new things that might be coming up out there, and new ideas, new technology, things like that. We'll definitely be getting on board on that. So, but in the meantime, I urge you to check out Ford Refrigeration. I want to say refrigeration. And I'd like to play their commercial one more time and wrap up our show. So here they are again.
Ford's RV Refrigeration Training Center, a licensed school, has many objectives for only one product, the RV refrigerator. We educate others so they can provide a repair service in their area, repair their own refrigerator, or when they hear throw it away, buy a new one, they'll know the right questions to ask in order to know whether or not their technician has been properly educated. Since 1984, we have saved RV owners money, provided them the best warranty, and reduced our carbon footprint. We accomplish these objectives daily through our service and training programs. Military veterans can even use their GI Bill for our training program, which includes our customized tools and manuals. Visit RVrefrigeration.com to find free DIY repair videos and information on our service and training programs. As a thanks to Rob Scribner, we're offering his listeners a free 11-point RV refrigerator inspection and one free night of camping at our location in Benton, Kentucky. Go to RVrefrigeration.com to call and make an appointment. That's RVrefrigeration.com. Thanks for listening. Stay cool and GBYAY.
And I'd like to thank that group for offering a great package for people to go down there. So if you get a chance to go down to Kentucky, get an 11-point inspection, and get to stay in their place, sounds like overnight, to have that done. Sounds like a good thing to do. I would highly recommend it. Refrigerators are a pain, and they could be a fire hazard if they're not kept up properly and stuff. So I do know that as a fact. So anyway, I want to thank them very much for offering that special package to our listeners. Also, I want to thank everybody for listening to RV Talk Radio. I urge you all to be very safe out there. I really hope you're having a good time. And if you don't have an RV yet, buy one. You'll love it. Talk to you later, guys. Bye now. Hey, thank you so much for listening to Good Talk Radio. Please take the time to like and subscribe and share our videos all over the whole wide world. Yeah, we appreciate it. Have a good one and be safe, folks. Welcome to RV Talk Radio. Here we talk about RV living, RV lifestyles, and RV travel. We also celebrate the RV lifestyle that gives us the chance to do... Welcome to RV Talk Radio. Here we talk about RV living, RV lifestyles, and RV travel. We also celebrate the RV lifestyle that gives us the chance to do outdoor activities that we couldn't do in a normal lifestyle. So thanks for joining us. Grab yourself a cup of coffee, a cup of tea, and let's talk about RVs. Well, hello everyone and welcome to RV Talk Radio. And I appreciate you very much being here. A lot of interesting subjects we've been hitting here in the last couple of weeks. And some of it's riled people up and some of it hasn't. And some of them appreciate it being brought up. And I still have more stuff. And it's because the deeper you dig, the more you start finding stuff that's like really is stuff that we should be aware of. So today's another one of those kind of days of bringing up a subject that I love to hear comments. I love to hear the feedback. I really ask everybody to be professional. Try to keep personal feelings out of it and just address the facts of what's happening here. And hopefully we maybe come up with some solutions or ideas, at least awareness. And so today I wanted to talk about the rising cost of RV parks, some of the causes of it, how it affects homeless, and how the housing industry is also doing it too. And so, yeah, all sensitive kind of stuff, but it's stuff I just want to talk about. Once again, we always kind of focus on RV lifestyle. And unfortunately, in some cases, RV lifestyle or modular homes, or I should say mobile homes and stuff, there's a phenomenon out there kind of happening that's causing issues that actually is enhancing our homeless housing issues out there. And one of the root causes is RV parks and not the RV parks themselves as it is the owners of the RV parks that are causing a cause and effect kind of an issue. And so I want to talk about that and tell you a little bit more about what I've found and what I want to report on. And then once again, I'd love to hear your feedback and ask you to pass this information along and be aware of it because it affects all of us as RVers. Okay, guys, let's see if I can make heads or tails out of some of this stuff. So based on some of the research, I actually ran across a video made by The Guardian. And I'm going to put a link to that video in this description. I urge you to watch it. And what it's showing is there's people out there with money trying to make investments. And then what they're doing is buying up RV parks. And why is what they're doing is, a lot of people that live in RV parks are not necessarily just RV or travelers. They're people that have like park models and things like that in RV parks, and a lot of them are in fixed income. It's a great way to live with fixed income and have a roof over your head and all the amenities of having a home and being affordable. So really what we're talking about here is affordable housing, which is what's causing a lot of the younger people buying RVs and living in them and full time, either for careers or actually just traveling. And we've talked about that, nomadic living and stuff like that. And so this is just another twist on the whole thing. So these investors, and they come in on a busload and they actually have a tour and they'll go into these RV parks and look at them and see how good of an investment they can be to buy them. And the attitude is, all right, I'll buy this RV park for investment. We'll go in and clean up the park. a couple of, wash up some of the rigs, maybe replace some fencing and paint a few things and all that stuff, and then raise the rent. just that easy. So you got to understand, there's like people in there, like you'll see if you watch that video, there's like one guy is on fixed income and is on disability and gets like $750 a month. And his rent, to live in a kind of a park model kind of place, is like $500 a month, which doesn't leave him much to live on. And these investors are walking through and the whole works, and his rent's going to go up. And what's happening is we're taking people that have found a way to find affordable housing based on their income, based off of either disability, Social Security, retirement, whatever reason that they're on a fixed income, even a pension that's fixed. And, if you retired 10, 15 years ago, or maybe you've now become 65 or so, and you get your Social Security, you get this certain number. And the thing is as the years go on, your number doesn't change, but inflation does and costs do. And so it really affects aging people a lot, and people with disabilities or mental health and things like that. The other thing they put an emphasis on is these mobile parks will say, well, let's declare this a sex offender park or people with felonies. Why? And the reason is first of all, they have they have to identify themselves as a sex offender. The second place is nobody would want to rent to them or have them in their neighborhoods. So if you have an RV park and you bought it and fix it up a little bit and then declare it as, say, a sex offender park, and let them move into that, and even some of these park models and stuff, they'll break them up for more than one family can live in them, and it gives them a place to live. And two, believe it or not, they don't have that many issues at those parks because those people know they don't have any other place to go because they're not welcomed. So they tend to actually protect themselves or be live by the guidelines and rules of the park because they don't want to lose their living facilities because of how hard it would be to get a place outside of a park like that. The other problem that happens is as they start raising these prices, they're forcing people out. And what's, especially fixed income people, and that's where you might see some of these people living in vans and cheap RVs and stuff, and maybe doing a lot of boondocking and stuff, because they've been forced out of their areas. And they're on a fixed income and they're trying to survive. And the worst thing, the very last thing that they want to do is end up in living in tents and being homeless that way. So it's like a last resort in a sense. And also there's people that are living in their RVs that are on fixed income that are living in these RV parks. And once again, it's raising the cost. So there's two things in these parks. You either own your park model or you're renting it. So you'll have a double rent. You'll either have a rent on your park model, and the land that you're on, you have to rent. And so, like, what I used to hear is, like, a lot of people have park models. They can't own the property. They can only park it in a place like that. And it used to be, like, around $3,500 to $4,000 a year to be able to keep your park model. Well, now I'm hearing numbers like $7,000. And these are just general people I run into. There's a lot of people with park models down here in Arizona. Anyway, so the cost is going up, and it's not cost effective. It's not working as well as it used to. Now, people with good retirement funds and so, stuff like that, they're fine. But typically with some people with fixed income, especially if they've been there like 5-10 years, those numbers really hurt. So this is one of the causes of homelessness and the housing issue that we're having in all of the different states and cities. of course, one of the other big problems that's going on in all the big cities like Seattle or Los Angeles and California cities and here in Phoenix too is as industries like Google and Amazon, all that stuff, they're bringing all these people making over $100,000 a year and causing, cause and effect what's happening is the cost of housing is going up to a point that is ridiculous. Even if you make $100,000 a year, the rents are talking of $2,500 a month on up, and housing to be as high as $400,000 to $800,000 or better for a decent home in some of these areas. And it's even if you're making good money, like let's say you're making $70,000 a year, $50,000 a year, you cannot afford the housing. And then of course, the rental properties it's all about investing and stuff. The more that there's supply and demand issues, the more that they'll raise the rents. Why? Because they can. It's like, all right, my place is full, and now you have attrition. And I know someone will rent my apartments, even if instead of $1,500 a month, I'm boosting them up to, say, $1,700 a month. And people will rent them. And it's just, but those who can't afford it anymore are pushed out. They're homeless. They're, they just can't do it. There's even people that are working at Google and places like that and are intentionally living in vans and trucks on the side of the road, keeping their low overhead down and saving their money like crazy, which is, in one sense you kind of go, that's nutty. At the other way of looking at it is, hey, that guy's putting 100% into his 401k that he can do, a maximum, and he's saving all of his money. He's young, but he's living in the back of a moving truck, and that's a fact. I actually saw that. And so, anyway, so you kind of say, well, yeah, it's smart, but at the same time, is that taking advantage? So let's say you make $100,000 or better from Google, and you decide to live in a van or live in a truck on the side of the road, pushing the limits of parking on the side of the road, which is causing all these RV issues of people parking too long in the cities areas. Now you're taking advantage of people that are actually homeless and are doing it because they have to. Where there's other people, they don't have to. They're making lots of money, but taking advantage of the laws and the fact that other homeless people are living on the side of roads in their broke down RVs, and they're not getting towed away because this is a fact. A lot of mayors are saying, let's not enforce towing these rigs away because it's better off these people have a place to live and have a roof over their head than us being the root cause of them being homeless and having to live in homeless camps. That's a fact. That's amazing information to hear about. So, for example, there's a great video out there about the homeless and living in RVs up in Flagstaff, and people constantly going beyond just the one night thing at the Walmarts up here. Instead of enforcing the one night of a stay, there's people who have lived for years in the Walmart parking lots up there in Flagstaff, and the city was going to buckle down on it, but the mayor says, you know what? If we do that, all we're doing is causing those people more pain and hurt by forcing them out of the area or into homeless camps or to do more illegal things. It's better to let them live in their RVs in the Walmart parking lots than the alternative. And that's sad. But, all this is all happening, and it's just getting worse and worse and worse. So what I want to do is also change the subject to how this affects us as RVers, just being your casual weekend warriors or your full-time traveler. So here's the next problem that comes up with a good and, let's say, good growth in our economy is one thing is happening out there because of supply and demand and all that stuff. A lot more younger people are buying RVs. And you know as well as I do, the reports out there are saying that there's record sales in RVs going on every year. And so there's more and more people with RVs, which means more people are using RVs and going to RV parks and camping areas and stuff. Okay, so the problem is now the RV parks are getting full. Some of these RV parks, there's some other people I've talked to that said, hey, I used to go to these RV parks that used to be, moderately a couple of people in it. Now I have to make reservations. Well, what's going to happen is if you own and trust me, I mean, the best of intentions out there, but if you are a business person and you own an RV park and your RV park is always full, and you're charging, let's just use monthly rates. Let's say you're charging $500 a month for someone to stay in the RV park full time. Well, and your place is packed. And maybe you're charging $35 a night for, people that are just passing through. And it's always being used and it's always full. Well, you're an RV park owner. You got responsibility. You got bills and things like that. I think I'm going to raise my rent to $600 a month for the monthlies and $45 for the overnighters. And your RV park is full, and people are coming overnight, paying the $45. Not happy about it, but it's full. Well, crap. If you own an RV park, I'm sorry, it's the American way. I'm going to start charging $800 a month for the monthly, and I'm going to charge. So let's go with $50 a night for someone that's just overnight. And my park is still full, but I'm hearing much more complaints and stuff. And I will keep trying to raise that rent to a point where I feel the effects that maybe I won't get anybody in there anymore. That's the American way. It's supply and demand. So all of us are affected by this growth. And so I don't know what the answers are. It's like, do we try to make more RV parks? Do we try to make affordable housing where people can buy 10, 20 acres and invest in a lot of tiny homes and set up, a low-income, fixed-income kind of a scenario for people to live in that have dignity and have a house, all the amenities of a home, and not be forced out in RVs and homeless living, tent camps. That's one thing that is like, can we do more of that? Why aren't we doing more of that? And of course, apartments and stuff like that. What's the incentive of keeping a low-income apartment building when you can get top dollar for your apartments? Why would you want to? I mean, in your heart, I could understand that. But if you're struggling as an owner of an apartment building and you can get twice as much by just investing a little bit in fixing up your apartments a little bit and get twice the rent, why wouldn't you do that? Because, why would you want to live in poverty or struggle when you don't have to as an owner, as an investor? So that's the sad thing about this whole thing is I don't see this ending. Maybe if we had another recession or a crash or something like that, maybe things would get balanced again. But, what they're also saying in one of these videos with these investors is in the 60s and 70s, there weren't that many poor people as compared to today. And so now they see this opportunity. And it's like, unfortunately, the opportunity pushes out a lot of people that are less fortunate than us as far as income. And are fixed incomes or have health issues or mental health issues. And taking advantage of the fact that there's people like sex offenders and have felonies and they need a place to live. Let's create a scenario where they're forced to live in my place and I can get the maximum rent out of them. They have no other place to go. I can do it. So this is kind of a gloom and doom kind of subject because I don't see a fix unless cities recognize the fact that we need to allow investors to find a way to do things in city limits, make it easier in the permitting process to buy 20, 30 acres and set up a actual place that's designed for people with fixed income and have affordable housing available for them, and actually give them the pride of having a house, a key to their door, privacy, a place they can put their stuff. Everybody is entitled to that. Everybody should have that right. Well, you're saying, well, these guys are, low income or unemployed and all that stuff. Well, a lot of them got issues, mental issues, health issues, fixed income, vets that can't get jobs or anything. It just goes on and on and on of reasons why people aren't in the workforce. And, you hear us do videos on the nomads and all that stuff and there's this darker side of some people that are cheating the system, living on welfare and stuff like that. We need to be aware of those people. At the same time, there is people out there with needs, and RV parks are an essential way for people to live within their means, having affordable housing. And now it's under attack. It's affecting not only the homeless, people that are fixed income and forcing them into a homeless situation. It's affecting us as RVers too in the RV parks that we're using, because I'm not seeing a lot of new RV parks being developed. And now you hear this big debate of the RV industry wants to take on the tiny home industry. Great, but there's some practicalities of having these tiny homes where we could set up, neighborhoods of little tiny homes and create really nice communities for people on fixed incomes that, could be a wonderful scenario. But I'm sure there's tons of issues of why you can't do that. And I'm sure it has to do with city ordinances, and permits, and practicality of septic and sewer and all those kind of things. And yes, we need to create environments for sex offenders to live at. I mean, we got to give them a place to live, and maybe even create a community to help them. And people with felonies or people who just got out of jail or on probation, they need a place to live. Well, some of us will say, well, they don't deserve it. They paid their price. They did their time. And we're supposed to, as a community, try to bring them back into the community. We also need to have that compassion. And me, you, all of us. And pray that they don't, fall into that kind of situation again. But if we don't help them, if they don't have a place to live and we can't give them jobs, then it's going to happen again, and it's our fault. And all this is kind of our fault. It's our politics. It's our greed. It's the capitalism, the way it's built. There's got to be a setup out there that is semi-socialism, I guess. I'm not a social. I'm so Americana, it's not even funny. But I don't see a solution unless we step in, and it can be private companies, but the governments also, and cities and ordinances have got to give slack to people that can invest into this stuff and make it work where it's profitable for them. Well, who in their right mind would start a business or own a property or buy apartments or fix up tiny houses that wouldn't break even or make more money or at a profit? Because that's how we operate here. So we need to allow them to make money. We need to allow these people to have an incentive to create affordable housing, which also goes into the RV parks. Why don't we have more RV parks? They appear to be good investments. Why can't we expand to more of them? Why can't there be more RV parks in the Oregon coast? Why can't there be more RV? Why did all these RV parks have to be bought up? How many private RV parks are out there that investors are coming along and say, I'll give you twice the money that you paid for this place? Who in their right mind would say, no, I just love this lifestyle, or get twice the money and go retire? Well, that's what's happening. That one company will come in and actually buy all these RV parks. That's happening down here in Arizona. Big problem. The same companies buying up more and more and more RV parks, and then fixing them up a little bit and raising the rent. And all it's creating is more havoc, homelessness, and less opportunities for fixed income people to live at. I know it sounds bleak, and I know it sounds sad, but we need to know about this. I urge everybody to go on the internet and type in RV homelessness or RV parks, investing in an RV park. Check it out. It's a fact. I'm not making this stuff up, and I'm not trying to bum everybody out. But the RV way of life that I knew back in 2006 and also just 2 years ago of full-timing is changing. And it's getting worse and worse and worse. And then more people are getting to do this boondocking thing. Well, you know what's going to happen. It's going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. More rules, more abuse, more rules, and then more rules. Pretty soon, in some cases, like for example, when I was a kid, I used to be able to go up in Weyerhaeuser up and use the mountains and go hunting and fishing up there and stuff. Well, it got abused so much. There was a handful of 1-2%ers out there that ruined it for all of us. And now Weyerhaeuser locks up their gates and say, we don't want anybody in. You're leaving old refrigerators and throwing garbage in our place and damaging our trees and stuff. We're not going to let you do it anymore. And that could happen with BLM land and things like that, because we're pushing everybody out of facilities that we normally would have used, or they're just too full. And so, and you can kind of see it in all the RV videos now. Everybody's put emphasis on solar and boondocking and living off the grid. Well, the reason for that is the RV parks are too expensive. I mean, geez, $50 a night? That's a lot of money. I don't care who you are. So here's the first thing you're going to do with this radio show is some of you guys would be in denial. Some of you guys will say, Rob, you're just thinking about bleak. Or Rob, you're making it sound terrible just because you're not RVing anymore. And that's not it. What I'm giving you is insight. 5 years from now or 10 years from now, you may hear this RV Park podcast and go, you know, he was on to something because it has changed. So what this insight is, and I'm giving you, is ideas. Let's say you're 50 years old and you want to retire at 55, early retirement, and you want to do the RVing thing. You might want to change it up a little bit to something different than what people are doing today. For example, maybe you buy your own camping lot. There's RV parks out there that actually sell the lots, and you could rent out those spaces when you're not using them. Or maybe there is places where you can buy park models and actually buy the property too. Maybe different kinds of memberships. What I'm saying is things are going to might make more sense to do something different in the future than what we're doing today. Based on the fact that if you're trying to be spontaneous, it's kind of like the old days. When we used to go camping, it used to be like, I used to go camping in the Washington coast and Claylock. It was always first come, first serve. To a point that it got so crazy that now you can only get in there for reservations. It could be RV parks are going to change too, or get so expensive that you're going to have to find another alternative. And we may find boondocking is either being spoiled or not being utilized like we use it today. Maybe they'll change what's allowed for 14 days to be only 7 days. All those things could be changing. So discussing this now may help with your plans in the future to maybe change your paradigm a little bit of maybe I should set up something or buy some property or do something a little different than just buying an RV and start traveling. Because then you're going to find that the cost of traveling in an RV was just as expensive as owning a house. Well, then what's the purpose? So other than the fact that you're traveling, I understand that. But what I'm hoping out of all this is you're getting insight to something to think about. And maybe changing your paradigm to, you're seeing all these videos right now. This is how I'm doing it. It's 5 years from now, it may be different. It's changed a lot in the 5 years for Sherry and I. And definitely it's changed a lot in 10 years. So what's it going to be like another 10 or 15 years from now? And you're getting ready to retire and want to travel. And you want to watch your costs. I don't care how much money you make. Everybody should be watching their costs. I'd rather be spending my money on my own personal things than to be pumping it out for RV parks and fees all the time. So anyway, so hopefully out of this conversation we're having is knowing and being aware that the RV parks are investments to people. And yes, there's greed, and yes, there's people don't buy a business not to make money. Would you? Maybe you've got so much money that you buy a business that didn't make money, and that's okay with you. If you're doing it out of the goodness of your heart, that's wonderful. But there's not a whole lot of people doing that. And besides, if you ever want to get rid of it, you better hope it's a profitable business. Why would anybody want to buy it? Unless they saw the potential of fixing it up and then charging higher rents and then hurting people in a sense. But for their personal gain, and that's what's happening. So anyway, so my big point out of all this is, if you're getting ready to RV, and if you're going to want to do some of the things you're seeing on the internet, it may look a little different 5 years from now. It may cost much more than it did before. RV parks are going to be much more crowded. So what are some of the other alternatives? Buying a snowbird house, a place where you could park your RV when you're not using it. What's some other things? Maybe look at going out of the country and going to Mexico and doing caravans. Things like that. There's a whole lot of things to look at other than the traditional, just I'm going to go down the Oregon coast and I'm going to stay out and find it's going to get, 1, very expensive, 2, very crowded, unless things change. And I'm hoping, because of all this yakking about homelessness and all that stuff, that when you look at the root cause is supply and demand and greed. And if somehow we can set up something where people can make RV parks affordable and still make a profit, or make RV parks with park models and all that stuff to keep that affordable, and maybe buying property where people can build a lot of tiny homes to help make affordable housing for people. Until that changes, we need to know this is going on. Well, we've been talking about the RV parks and the rising costs of that kind of stuff, but, there's going to be another problem, and I'm sure it's already happening, is a lot of us prefer to buy a newer RV or a new one because, one, it's just, nice to have a new one. 2 is, you get a good warranty and stuff. But the problem is supply and demand, once again, is if we're getting a lot of these RVs on the road and they're coming out in the, selling $1 million a year and all that stuff, this just using a number. The problem is depreciation on these RVs is going to be even worse than it's ever been. And I'll be the first one to convince you, I'm underwater on my RV. But I'm not in a hurry to get rid of it. So I financed mine for, I believe, 10 years. And it's actually we worked it out. We bought ours at age 55. And by the time we turn 65 and we actually want to do some more traveling and we take good care of this fifth wheel, we'll still have it, and it's paid off. But, it's going to be, if you played the numbers, it'd be a terrible loss of a $70,000 RV that's going to be, if I ever sold it by then, I'd be lucky to get 15 or 20,000 for it. So yeah, poor investment. And motorhomes can't be, that's got to be even worse. And I can talk with experience because I've had RVs. I mean, I've had motorhomes. I had a new 2007 Discovery, and I've had trailers, the whole works. So I've had a little bit of each thing. And no, none of them has ever been a good investment. And it's so easy. You can go from a smaller RV and move up to a bigger one pretty easy. But when you want to, like Sherry and I were looking into actually going smaller now because our scenarios changed a little bit and can't see a feasible way to do that staying with new RVs because we're underwater on our fifth wheel, and that's just the realities of it. Should I have paid cash? Yeah, that would have been nice if I could. How many of you guys out there is like most of the people, to get new RVs and get what they want and don't want to do all the repairs and stuff like that, we bought new ones, and so typically we financed them. And we're kind of younger, older adults, you might say, so we still have room to do financing. So that's the deal with that. So the problem is the more saturated the market gets, the less you're going to be able to get for that RV. It's a problem for me. It's going to be a problem for you. Yes, it's always good if you're a handyman and have some talents and skills to be able to keep up your RV and buy a used one, fix it up. Maybe you can break even. Maybe, if you're lucky. I don't hear a lot of people making more. And somebody can even say, well, I made $1,000. I paid $1,500 for this and I sold it for $2,000. Yeah, but he put $3,000 worth of repairs in it to get that extra $500. It's it's personal math, you want to call it. So anyway, so the big thing out of this whole discussion on the future of RVing is it's not one to be bleak as it is be aware of it and change our paradigms a little bit for good RVing in the future. Don't get me wrong, nobody loves RVing more than I do. I love RVing. Yes, I love the community. I love the meeting people. I love the different places and the different towns and the different every town and state's got their own kind of vibe and it's no doubt the coolest thing in the world. And once you get traveling in your blood, it's hard to get it out. But we also need to face the fact that things are changing, and in order for us to enjoy them in the future, because Sherry and I will be doing full timing again, and it's not going to be the same as the last time, and it certainly won't be anything close to when we did it in 2006. So what do we need to do to make it, one, enjoyable and affordable? And that's kind of what I'm bringing up in this conversation here. I urge everybody, I'm not done with the show yet, but I want to make sure on all this is, I love your comments and feedback. If you got hate, there's no reason for hate. This is just adult conversation talking about a problem that's going to come up that if we change our paradigms and if we understand what's happening, or especially if you're going to be a new RVer coming in this, you'll make smarter or better decisions that'll fit the future. Currently, the way things are right now, a lot of people are starting to hit the shock of the price of RV parks. And the price of RVs are getting expensive too. Not to mention, servicing your RV is a nightmare because there's so many people out there now. There's a waiting list to get your RVs fixed. And so how do you handle that? What can you do to make it nicer? What are things in the future, like maybe buying property, maybe buying your own RV space and then renting out when you're not using it? Maybe buying a park model that you own the property to. There's RV parks down here in Arizona doing that, and I was really shocked to hear that. Maybe buying a little house that has an extension kind of garage kind of thing that you could put your RV in, and say in a place like Central Oregon where I used to be, and that would be your kind of base, and then constantly go RVing knowing that you can come back to your base, and you could legally build a little kind of house like that could accommodate your RV. Because the problem is with property is the ordinances of the cities and stuff. They don't necessarily let you stay in your RV on your property. They'll let you do it if you're building or something, but all in all, you need to have actual structure. And a lot of places, majority of places you buy property, you just can't buy property and park your RV on it. If there is places out there, please let us know in the comments of where we could find properties like that. But I think it's getting real rare. And then the ones that are available are in places that you just don't want to live. I mean, we're talking barren. And it's like, wouldn't it be great to have property where you actually could put your utilities in there and have at least a septic and a water system, and you're set. I mean, you're in good shape. And electricity, a lot of people with RVs, I mean, you can get away with solar, even solar off of the RV and put it on top of a shack or something. I mean, there's a lot, or just use a generator. So, yeah, but the future is going to be different, and we all need to address it, and that's kind of what we're talking about here. Well, just to make sure that you people don't think that, all things gloom and doom from the radio show and stuff, I am going to take the time to tell you all the things I really enjoyed about and still enjoy about RVing. And right now, our RV is stored up at Central Oregon, and I've kind of told you this before because Sherry's folks are, having health issues, and they're up there in age, so we're keeping it on their property. So if we need to go up there really quick, we have a place to stay, and it's right there, and it works out good, and we get free rent. I mean, yeah. So now when we go to our RV, we're almost excited. I mean, it's like, and I've said this before, it's funny, when you live in an RV, all you can think about is how to get out of the RV and go do stuff. At the same time, now that we're not in the RV all the time, all we can think about is, I can't wait to get back to the RV, because it's just cozy. We have a cozy little fifth wheel. We love it. And but when we were traveling, there was no doubt in my mind that, when we sold everything the first time and went traveling and it was scary and all that stuff, if I look back at any of that stuff, any regrets? Nope, not at all. We enjoyed our time. I feel sorry for those that are getting ready to do it or going to change it. It might get a little tougher. But all in all, even seeing the same places that you've seen other people go to, it's not the same until you actually go there. So if you saw someone do something on Seaside, Oregon, go there, because your experience will be totally different than theirs. And plus you have different enjoyments. Maybe you enjoy museums where other people didn't. Maybe you enjoy the beach and other people didn't go to the beach that much. Maybe you'll enjoy certain kind of foods, and you need to go to those places even though you saw somebody else go there. That's a cool thing. But it's really neat to get into the new environments each time. You can even go, drive for 100, 150 miles and find a whole different community and feel a different vibe, good, bad, or indifferent. And pretty soon you start getting used to change. A lot of people don't like change, but maybe if you're kind of like shaky about things changing all the time, this could cure you. But one of the other things I've always, we realized right off the bat is you got to be careful that if you're going to go full timing, you want to get out of vacation mode and realize this is your lifestyle and stop and smell the roses. So one of the things that Sherry and I learned really quickly was take your time and spend more time at the places you go, and don't pick up and go. A couple of reasons for that. One is you don't get a real feel for the area. Two, it's more cost effective at RV parks and stuff to be able to pay for weekly rent or monthly rents. The pick up and move is a pain. It's moving your little house on wheels. It gets old and it gets kind of like, ugh. So sometimes it's just nice to be at a place and you have hookups and all that stuff to relax for a couple of weeks and go check out the little places, because it takes time to find out all the nooks and crannies of a little region that you may have landed in. And so that's my biggest advice for you is get out of vacation mode and get into travel mode and living for the now a little bit, and smell the roses when you're on the move. And if you want to keep things cost effective, not paying those daily rates is very helpful. If you're going to do the boondocking and stuff like that, Sherry and I had some circumstances where it was wonderful. The only bad part was you had to go into that conservative mode of power and water. And if that's something you don't enjoy and don't want to have that, then you need to keep that in mind. But I can see in the future where the boondocking, if available, and it doesn't get taken advantage of and used wrong, if it's still available as well as it is today in a lot of places, especially down here in Arizona, lots of places, the boondock gets a little harder in the East Coast from my understanding, and it's getting really hard up in Washington and Oregon. Either you got to learn how to enjoy boondocking and find ways to be conservative, or find a way to deal with this new growing trend of lots of RVs out there and making. Some people are really good about making plans, and unfortunately, me and Sherry tend to always been kind of a spontaneous. We want to just pick up and go and say, well, we'll go a couple 100 miles down the road and see where we land. Well, it gets harder and harder, especially if you're going to rely on RV parks. They may be full. And there could be circumstances where if we don't watch how people are taking care of, doing the overnight Walmarts and Cabela's and all these other places, we may lose some of those privileges. And those privileges are very helpful to people that travel and need a place to just lay their head overnight so they can keep moving on to their next destiny. So, yeah. But all in all, I mean, the adventure of going to all these different places, and then, of course, the big thing is people hear over and over again is meeting people, the community, friendly. People just kind of accept each other as they are. You'll get a lot of new friends. It's kind of a different kind of friendship. You'll know people, and then you'll end up going separate ways. In some cases, you will stay in contact with them for a long time, and maybe you may not get to see them again. Where other circumstances where you may run into each other in a whole other state somewhere else, but you'll pick up a whole lot of new friends, some won't be the traditional friends that you've had in the past, and some will be. You just never know. But there's definitely that sense of community, and the social aspect of traveling is wonderful. But a lot of people, there's other ones that you ever notice when you're out there RVing that just keep to themselves. They are perfectly happy kind of doing their own little thing and not being as social as other. They're not social butterflies. But they're still friendly. So yeah. If you end up staying in RV parks for a longer period of time, then you start picking up on the quirks of people, and then you may find that it feels like you're just living in a regular neighborhood. But when you keep picking up and moving, you tend to see the best of people, and then everybody's got stuff that they do that probably irritates another person, and if you're around them long enough, you'd probably pick up on it and drive you crazy. But when you're traveling, a little different. It's you get to see the best of people, and about the time that you may be getting on each other's nerves, you're moving on anyway. So yeah, but and of course, all the different foods, all the different regions, all the different things, traditions and cultures and things like that. I mean, lifestyle's so different between Washington people and say people down in New Orleans, or people on the West Coast as opposed to the East Coast. Different aspects. They look at the world differently. They see things from left to right. And you go another place, they look at things that right to left. It's just how it is with traveling. But it's always an adventure. And, of course, there's always that side of things of knowing about safety and knowing about problems that could come up. And some people enjoy that challenge. And so and that's another thing to consider before you come out here is, are you up for that challenge? And some people say, yeah, bring it on. He's like, can you handle it if you're out in the middle of nowhere and you blow a tire? I mean, you got to freak out or be able to just move forward and find a way to fix it. Or is it like, that's it, I quit, I'm not going to be an RVer anymore. Strange things happen out there, and it's part of the adventure. And so Sherry and I have always enjoyed RVing and always will, but even now we've had to modify our way of RVing quite differently than what we would have done 5 or 10 years ago. And Lord knows what, by the time Sherry and I are ready to go full timing again, which is in about 7 years, it could look a lot different once again. And so Sherry and I want to ask these questions that we're talking about of what's things going to look like in 5 years from now, and what can we do now to adapt and be ready for it. Maybe it's a good idea that maybe Sherry and I buy a lot or a camping spot up in Washington that we could go to and call our own and then rent it out when we're not using it. Just thinking out loud. Or maybe I should buy, we sell this house, we buy a park model, put money aside for a little nest egg or whatever. There's so many things. Of course, there's, how healthy, how will we feel 7 years from now? There's a lot of things, but once again, if you don't think about it, what things could look like 5 or 10 years from now, and I know I'm repeating myself a lot, but are you asking yourself those questions? Will I be prepared? And maybe I should change my paradigms and do a paradigm shift of doing RVing a little bit differently in the future, so I enjoy it as much as Rob and Sherry did 10 years ago, or anybody else you're watching on the YouTube channels and stuff. And I hope that's where we're helpful in making your RVing experience better, knowing that these things are out there and these things are changing. And it's just like camping. Oh my gosh, camping has changed so much since we were younger. I used to just pack up the kids on a Friday night, go to the coast and get a campground, and we're good. If I did that now, we would have been sleeping in a car in some weird parking lot because you wouldn't be able to get in the campground. So things have changed, and you got to change along with them, and still to make it fun. I mean, obviously, I got to call ahead of time, make reservations, pack up the kids, and go, and it's there, and we have fun. Well, yeah, so that's kind of what I'm pointing out is we want you to have fun. We want you to enjoy RVing. We want you to get a chance to travel, and also realize conditions are changing. And that's pretty important to know. So I do want to take the time to thank everybody for listening. I appreciate the feedback. No need to get upset on any of this stuff. This is a discussion. You remember the days when we had debate teams and there was a pro and a con? Well, sometimes we take the con side, sometimes we take the pro side. Doesn't mean that is exactly what we believe in. It's just we want to bring it up for discussion. If you have comments and feedback, we'd love to hear your feedback. Please be professional. Please don't be, we're not trying to insult anybody here, as we are just bringing up awareness. And to hear your ideas, allow us to pass those on to other people. That's really what this is all about at RV Talk Radio. We're here for the lifestyles. So once again, thank you very much for listening. Be safe out there. If you're thinking about becoming an RVer in the future, I hope this is helpful information and another aspect to planning your full-time RV adventure in the future. And I hope we've been a part of it. We've actually gotten really good notes from people saying, hey, Rob, because of the information we've been giving out, we've made such and such decisions to make our RVing experience better. So that's cool. That's what we're all about. So thanks again. Thanks for listening. We'll catch you in the next episode. Be safe. From me and Sherry, we appreciate it. Go buy yourself an RV, guys. Bye. Hey, thank you so much for listening and watching RV Talk Radio. Please take the time to like, subscribe, and share our videos all over the whole wide world. Be safe out there, and we'll see you next time. Bye now. Well, guys, thank you very much for watching, and we're going to wrap up this stream and actually move over to Facebook. So have a great day, everyone.